Today's message is very important. Today's message is very, very critical. It's critical to your life, and it's critical to your future. As a matter of fact, today's message sets the foundation for every other message that we're going to preach throughout this year. Today's message is so important that you ought to take your phone out to write notes on it. I want to talk to you about fulfilling purpose. Fulfilling purpose. The power of motion. Fulfilling purpose. The power of motion. Let's do a quick recap. Last week we talked about purpose, and I gave you some tools to understand purpose. We learned that purpose is the reason why something is created. We also learned that purpose cannot be defined by the created, only the creator. You remember that? Right. We found out our purpose in Genesis 1:26. We talked about that it says we are created to dominate, meaning to rule, to reign, and to influence. We learned that for God to accomplish this purpose, he formed man. I told you that was body. Breathed his spirit into man, that spirit, and man became a living soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotion. The very same thing utilized by God during creation. We also learned about the power of decrees. Remember that last week? Yeah. We talked about the power of decrees, and I believe it was Deja this morning talking about decrees. Can we actually bless God for Aisha and Deja for today's prayer? I think that was amazing. We talked about being mindful of what we say about ourselves and our circumstance. But brothers and And this unknown realm forms as a barrier to your decrees. I want to use somebody as an example because, see, if we're able to see it, then we can better understand it. If I could use you as an example, yeah, come on, yeah. I want you to make a decree real quick. I want you to make, what would you like, how much would you like to make this year? Give me whatever big number you got in mind. I choose it for you. I can't choose it for you because if I did, then it's going to be my money. I want you to choose your money. You can use $1 billion, whatever you want to do, yeah. Okay, well, say it out loud. I want to make $1 billion this year. You didn't say it confidently. Say it like you mean it.
I want to make $1 billion this year.
Say it with all energy in your heart.
I want to make $1 billion this year.
Yell it to where we can't even hear it no more.
I want to make $1 billion this year.
Okay. Now, maybe we can start. Like, can somebody do a quick calculation? How much is $1 billion divided by 365? Calculators, thank you. Anybody? 1 billion divided by 365? College graduates? Thank you. Y'all could have just Google search. Okay. College graduates. Anyways, so that's 2.7 million, right? So with that being said, that means you have to make 2.7 million today? Well, say it.
To make 2.7.
Not have to. I'm going to.
Going to make 2.7.
Say it so the money's there falling out the sky.
Going to make 2.7 million.
Say it one more time.
Going to make 2.7 million.
Oh my God, say it again.
Going to make 2.7 million.
Oh! Where's the money at? You just made a decree. I wonder if it's on top of the ceiling. Okay, maybe let's try one more time. Come on. We'll do it together. I want to make $2.7 million today. You see, thank you. It didn't happen. Because it's an unknown realm that I forgot to tell you about last week. There was something that stands in the way of your decrees. And today I want to give you the title of this realm because, see, decrees operate in the realm of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We want our faith to become reality. She wants to make $2.7 million today so she can make $1 billion this year. She wants the faith to become reality. In the realm of faith, we make decrees. We believe God for it. But we don't see the reality because there is an unknown realm that stands as a hindrance to this reality. And this unknown realm is the realm of work. You see, many of us never see our decrees because we forget there's a realm that stands in the way of it becoming reality. You see, wanting to see change is not enough. You see, believing that things can change is not enough. Wanting to see that null and void area transformed is not enough. It must go through the realm of work or action. Many people are stuck here and they have faith to believe, but they lack the work to act on what you believe. Somebody say believing is not enough. There is a realm of work required for the realm of faith. One activates the other. Now, this is the problem, brothers and sisters. You see, when you have too much faith and no work, you depict God as a Santa Claus that does whatever you want through wishful thinking. In other words, if I can say it long enough, consistently long enough, and wish for it long enough, then it's going to manifest. We made a decree over the carpet, but we had to work to raise the money to pay so the carpet can be changed. We made a decree, and we're seeing new carpet, but it had to go through the realm of work. Yesterday, if I sound under the weather, my wife knows I never get sick, which is why it hurts me every time I pay insurance, which is why it hurts me. It really hurts me. Paying that thing every month, it hurts me. I never get sick, but I have this weird thing where it happens to my son too. If I travel anywhere, for some weird reason, at any point of season, I get allergies, which I have right now. we spent time with our father-in-law, my dad, and he really had more time with Pastor Misi. They had their own conversations, talking, and I was just upstairs playing video games with my little brother. And before I left, I've been looking for my passport because, see, the Lord is calling us to really move internationally, and I need to get my passport to do that. So I lost my passport, or so I thought, and I've been searching for it for a while. So as we were getting ready to leave, my dad says, "Hey, son, let's pray." He put me and Pastor Misa together and said, you're going to see your passport today when you go home. I said, all right, cool. I believe. So then we went home, and I began to search for the passport in the same areas where I've searched before. As I began to search, we were at first cleaning up, but something about my search influenced Pastor Misa to begin to search too. You see, work influences work. There is something about work that causes things to begin to work on your behalf. Anybody ever seen somebody that inspired you so much you want to sow into their life? There is something about work that causes others to work. Work is influential. So Pastor Misi saw me searching for this thing, and she left what she was doing, and she began to search. And she found it. We found what I've been looking for weeks and months. I called my dad. I said, "Dad, you talked about it and you prophesied it and we saw it. It became our reality, but it never would have happened if we never went to the realm of work." The realm of work. Write this down. Faith needs motion. Faith needs motion. Motion, motion. You see, motion is the wheel used to steer faith into reality. If faith is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of what has not been seen, to see what you haven't seen, you must have the tool or the wheel of motion. Work towards it. Step towards it. I want to give you an example in the Bible in Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 31. The book of Matthew 14, 22 to 31, it says, "And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a sheep, and to go before him into the other side, and he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain to pray. And when the evening was come, and he was there alone, but the sheep was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea," walking on water. "And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It's a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it's you." Somebody say, if it's you. If it's you, tell me to come unto thee on the water. Peter wasn't saying, if it's you, let me swim to you. He said, if it's you, in other words, if you are really doing this, then tell me to do it. Good God. I love the kid-like nature of Peter. You see, yesterday, I came home from groceries, packing up groceries, and as I was coming, my son comes downstairs, and he was like, Dad, Dada is here. And we do this religious, jovial way of greeting each other. And he comes down and he wants to help me with the groceries. And I'm giving him a light bag. And he picks up the bag and he walks upstairs and he's coming back down. Me and Pastor Missy just watching him like, okay. And he wants to help. So I was like, all right, you got the lightest bag. Pastor Missy doesn't grab the other bag and I was left with the heavy one. Let me go. But he wanted to grab the heavy one. And he had lifted up first. And he was like, it's heavy. And he dropped it. But then something magical happened. I began to clap for him. I was like, come on, boy. Come on. Pick it up. And he's like, ugh, ugh, ugh. And a little 2-year-old boy picked up a heavy bag, my duffel bag, with groceries inside it. It was heavy. He lifted up on one hand while holding on to the staircase and walked all the way to the end of the staircase. And then I'm like, flex your muscle. And he's like, ah. And I'm like, ah. And we have this father-son moment. But what he really said was, if you're my daddy, believe me that I can carry the bag. At first, he said it was too heavy. But it was something about his father saying, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Lift it up, son. And I'm there cheering him on. I'm like, lift it up. Come on, boy. Come on, boy. And it inspired him to do something that he first accounted to be impossible. Faith needs motion. You see, Peter had never heard of a man walking on water. By normal assumption, you can understand that he perhaps have heard, based on the law and history in that time, of people walking in the water, or in what was once water. The children of Israel, the water is separated for them to walk on water. He perhaps have heard about what happened with Elisha and Elijah, and perhaps many other miracles, but it has not been placed in history that there was somebody walking on water that had not been separated, which is why they were afraid. He had faith to believe that if indeed it was Jesus, if it's really you, bid me to come. Now his faith aligned with Jesus, but nothing happened. You see, there's a place within the Bible that I like to call in between the texts. You see, in between the texts is a place where you get implied meaning. He stood there in the boat with everybody else who was scared. And he said, Jesus, if it's really you, if you're the one really walking on water, tell me to come. Now I want you to take a pause and imagine everybody now watching. Yo, Peter. Pete. Fam, that don't make no sense, bro. Even if it was Jesus walking on water, it's Jesus. You! Now Butte to walk on no water. You sure that's Jesus? But you sure, Peter, what you doing, Peter? Imagine the moments before he actually stepped. Imagine him slowly putting the first feet on water. Imagine that first feeling when his leg didn't go down. I'm trying to see if is that you, Jesus? Okay. Okay. Imagine the movements. Imagine the motion. The faith caused him to say, if it's really you, bid me to come. But now he's in the realm of motion. I'm going to take one step at a time. Because him coming did not stop the waves and the winds. But I'm going to take one step at a time. And nothing in the text says the disciples were cheering on. What do you do when you're the only one doing it? What do you do when you're making a step towards your faith becoming your reality and ain't no supporting? Ain't nobody clapping for you. Ain't no mama, ain't no daddy. Ain't no brother, ain't no sister. Ain't nobody sharing your post. Ain't nobody liking your post. Ain't nobody saying, come on, you can do it. And it's just you and Jesus. Started the business, just you and Jesus. Went back to school, just you and Jesus. And you're walking on something that you're unsure if you can drown at any moment. You see, work is scary. It's a scary realm to be in. You see, through his motion, the faith of believing he too could walk on water became his reality. But it's the part of the text that we miss. It was not the reality for the other disciples because only Peter took motion. One person walked on water. You said, Pastor, why is this important? You can be in the boat and heard Jesus say, come. And if you make no motion, you'll remain in the boat when Peter comes back with Jesus. This is why people can be in the same church, hear the same message,
Come on.
and one is successful and the other is not. It's the same Jesus. And every disciple had access to respond, to come. The come was such a powerful come that even John could have said, me too. James could have said, me too. That's why you can be part of your family and you're the only one that made it out.
Come on.
That's why you can be in the same school with everybody else, but only you made it out. That's why you can be in the same job, but only you got the promotion. Because there's something about making motion. There was something about a movement. God is a God of motion. The very thing he put in us to give us life is motion. The breathing in and out, God operates through motion. Your heart, your body, your chest, your soul, every part of your brain is functioning off of motion. The moment your heart stops beating, you die, because even your heart is dependent on motion. Motion. Peter had to make motion. He believed God to walk on water, but he needed the motion for that belief to become reality. You see, being on the boat and seeing Jesus walk on water, it depicts the possibility of you doing it too, but it does not guarantee it being your reality. In other words, I can go to a conference that says how to start a business, and all I leave is the money I paid with that is no longer in my bank account. I can read a book that says how to do this or how to do that, And all I lost, or all I got, is the money that I don't have no more. I could come to church and the pastor say be healed, and I go home with my sickness and somebody else got healed. And they will begin to think, did they plant that person there? No, they made motion. Motion. Your reality is subject to your motion. Your reality is subject to your motion. My reality is subject to my motion. As long as you stay in the boat and watch others achieve what you classify as impossible, you will never achieve anything. You see, many of us, we stay in the boat and we are satisfied with cheering others on in something we can do too. I just like to support my friends. No, you got dreams too. Your mediocrity has you thinking support is what God calls you to be. I just want to support people. What is your solution to? Motion. High five somebody and tell them your faith need motion. Quickly. Y'all didn't do it enough. Quickly, high five them again. Say your faith need motion. High five somebody, your faith need motion. Your faith need motion. Turn to the neighbor behind you, tell him my faith need motion. My faith need motion. My faith need motion. Look at your neighbor and look at them and tell them, you ready? All right, let's go. There are 4 groups of people. 4 groups of people in the body of Christ that I want to identify and give to you. Are you ready? Yes, sir. Number 1 is the dreamers. Number 2 is the laborers. Number 3, the blind. Number 4, the managers. 4 groups of people. I have denoted life into just 4 groups of people. The dreamers, the laborers, the blind, and the managers. Now, of course, by looking at this, everybody want to be a manager. Woo! Woo! Who are the dreamers? Where are the dreamers in this house? Come on, if you're a dreamer, come on. Come on, dreamers! The dreamers are those who have all faith and no work. The dreamers, all they do is dream. All they do is hope and the belief for the impossible without actually working towards it. What a dreamer is always going to do? That's all they do. They don't work towards it, just dream. I got a dream. All they got is dreams. The dreamer live in a realm that I like to call one day. They live on one day. In other words, everything that attribute to their success, destiny, or purpose resides in the future. They attribute their destiny, their purpose, and their success to future. One day, I'm going to make it. One day, I'm going to get that company. One day, I'm going to graduate. One day, I'm going to do this. One day, I'm going to do that. Everything in their life lives, breathes, moves on one day. The laborers, group number 2, these are the ones who have all work and no faith. Just toiling. Going one job to another. You have mastered the 9 to 5. They don't want no handouts. All they know is blood, sweat, and tears. You can't give them. They'll be 70 and still working. They'll be 80 and still working. They'll be 90 and still working. All they know is labor. Rest is weakness. They have no dream. They have no faith. They will be in a company for 60 years looking for a retirement check. They're trying to work so they can get their 401k. I'm going to work here for 40 years because then I'm going to pay me $3,000 a month and I can live off of that because, I mean, that's all I can do. I'm willing to give this company all of my life. I just want to work. Do you have a dream? No, I just want to work. I don't want too much out of life. I just want to work. No faith. Just work. The laborers need dreamers. And the blind. No faith, no work. I'm really running short on time because this really is a master class, and I'm not even halfway. You see, the blind, they're not lazy. They're not. They simply can't see their way out, literally. They are blind. You say, Pastor, what are they blind to? They're blind to their capabilities and capacity. They're blind to the future and can't see past their current. They don't really know what they're capable of doing. I don't know my worth. I don't know how good I can get. So I'd rather not try. Blind. I don't know if I ever make it or be successful in this. So I'd rather not start. I don't know if it's going to work. So I'd rather not begin. Who's going to buy my product? So I'd rather not start the business. Blind. Good God Almighty. Then there are the managers, who obviously, this is the part we all been waiting for. They have faith. And work. You see, the managers, they understand management and balancing of faith and work. They're good stewards over the realm of faith and the realm of work. These are the ones who constantly accelerate in life because they manage whatever is given to them. You see, life needs balance. The managers are those who understand how to be a dreamer and how to be a laborer. Balance. Somebody say balance. Then there was a small group of people that I didn't list on there because these group of people are all within all four of these groups. And these are the people who tried, but it didn't work. They tried it. You see, many are naturally gifted managers, but the problem exists when you utilize faith and work, and it didn't work. And this is where many managers become blind, or they opt out to be dreamers or simply laborers. There are many people who were here, and they had both faith and work, but it didn't work. So they became stuck on just dreaming. Or they decided to just settle for just working. And sometimes they end up being blind. It don't work. I tried it. I worked hard on that for 10 years of my life and nothing happened. So now I'm just believing God to do it. I ain't working on it no more. Or I worked hard for that stuff 10 years of my life and nothing happened. And now I'm done believing it's going to change, but I'm going to keep working though. Or I'm done trying. It's not going to change. Nothing's going to happen. And it's all in the room. You see, some of our parents and grandparents, really the boomer generation, they're excellent at being laborers due to the oppression they or their parents experience. Because, see, oppression promotes labor but kills faith. Oppression promotes labor but kills faith. Increase their labor, but y'all never going to leave Egypt. Double their work. You ain't going to worship no God. You want to worship God? I got something for you. I give you work. Oppression has a way to promote labor. God Almighty. But kills faith. So when you promote labor and kill faith, that's why you can get into the wilderness and say, would be Moses if we had just stayed in Egypt. I don't need no faith to believe God's going to make a way and provide manna for me. Give me labor. I'd rather work for my watermelon and cucumbers and bread. I'd rather go labor. I don't want to believe God for my daily bread. Let me go back to Egypt. Because the oppressor has successfully promoted labor and killed my faith. So this generation didn't raise kids. And in the way they raised their kids, they didn't allow their kids to dream. So all they tell the kids is work, work, work. Kill that dream. You ain't going to do nothing. Go work. Get a job and go to school. All you need is a good job that you can work for 40, 60 years and retire. That's all you're good for. Because my faith was killed. You see, with overworking, many millennials grew up seeing their parents slave and not seeing the true unfolding of their dream, causing them to despise harsh labor and cling to becoming dreamers. So in a way to rebel against the parents that forced you to just work, now all you want to do is dream. I just want to dream. I ain't working for nobody. I'm my own boss. I'm an entrepreneur. We want to be millionaires by 21 and retire by 30. And we're going to quit our jobs to focus on our business without understanding the market, without being fully prepared or understanding the purpose. We just have a dream and we want to see it come to pass. I did that. I was a project manager for Bagley Scott and White. And I quit my job and started a business. And then I started doing Uber. And Lyft. Working to my, hey, are you Joseph? Come on in. Where you going? Working till my legs was hurting. Because I had a dream. You see, then the dreamers gave birth to the blind. And many of a Gen X and Gen Z generation are the blind ones because, see, they are blind to their true capabilities and purpose and will settle for mediocrity because their standards are low. So you ask them, what do you want to be? I want to be an influencer. You don't want to be a doctor? I want to get paid to do makeup. Just put a camera right there. I want to get paid to eat food in front of a camera and put the mic by my mouth so you can hear me crunching and I get paid and I get views because I've settled for mediocrity. I'm blind. Blind. I want to get paid to just wear different outfits and post pictures and show you how to do it. We're no longer looking for solutions in the world.
Yeah, true.
Nobody's trying to make a difference anymore. Because they become blind. Blind. Blind to their purpose and who they are and their capabilities. So you settle for the easiest thing that can get you the fastest results. The dreamers gave birth to the blind. And this is not to knock any hustle. I believe in hustling. But there are many kids who live their life and they settle to say, all I want to do is do hair and makeup and get paid to do it. And you ask them, what solution are you bringing to the world? What are you trying to cure? What are you trying to solve? I just want to be an influencer and I'm going to take care of my family. That's it? That's all you think you're capable of doing? Setting up a camera and getting views? And people cheering you on and you're getting a fan base? That's what, so God put his spirit inside you just so you can get fans? That's a solution you think you got to the world? That's all you think you're capable of doing? Is that? That's all. With the brain that you have, with the millions of cells in your brain, you think all you can do is that? You're blind. I'm not even 50%. You're blind. But now that you've been cut, any real preacher knows you have to do some healing. I can't leave you cut. So how then do we learn and grow? So that way you leave on a happy note. I don't mind at all. That was the intention. That's the intention. I'm not going to leave you cut. You see, there are many laborers, dreamers, and blind people who really, because of a failed attempt, maybe you saw dad or mom do it, or you saw someone close to you try it and fail. They don't want to attempt at all, or they don't want to work towards it, or because they saw somebody else fail, they now believe it's impossible. I'm not good at math. I can't learn math. But you have the same brain as the other person. I'm not really good at science. Have you ever tried to study it? I don't really like English like that. I don't like reading. Have you tried it though? Have you tried audiobooks maybe? I don't want to give it a shot. I don't really know. Have you tried it? What do you do when you understand your role of dominating, yet you feel like it's not working? The answer is you follow the preset blueprint. And let me give you the blueprint so we can get out of here. You see, when you ask believers what their purpose is, most will attribute it to a job, some school, or even religious activity. But purpose is defined as the reason for which something is created. Therefore, as I told you last week, we cannot define purpose. Only the creator of that thing can, and our creator is God. God told us and talked to us about us in Genesis 1:26, and we're aware of this big word, dominate. And we know that's what we're supposed to do, and that even churches are named after it. The church is called dominion. But what exactly does that mean? You see, there's a secret to dominate. Somebody said there's a secret to dominate. God showed us his very secret in the whole of creation. In the book of Genesis 1:26, he talked about dominating, but in Genesis 2:7, to fulfill his intent of man dominating, as seen in Genesis 1:26, God formed man, then breathed his spirit into man. And write this down. God formed man, then filled man. He formed man, then filled man. God formed man, then he filled man. Write that down. You see, when I saw this, I didn't understand the significance until I saw that it's the same system that God used in the very creation of earth. The book of Genesis, chapter 1. If you look at a breakdown of it, let's go through day 1 to 6. I'm going to speed through this because I really want you to get, I feel like y'all have gotten the meat of what I'm really trying to say. Now I just want to give you the dessert. You see, day 1 to 3, God formed the earth. Day 1, if you study that text in Genesis 1, keep going down with me from verse 3 to 5. Day 1, light and the division of light was created. Verse 3 says, let there be light, and there was light. Verse 4 says, he divided the light from the darkness. And verse 5, he gave identity to light. In other words, he called light day and darkness nights. Day 2, we see the divisions of water from earth and sky. Verse 6, the creation of the firmament to divide the water. Verse 7 and 8, he gave identity to the firmament, calling it heaven. Day 3, we see the appearance of dry land, formation of grass, herb yielding seed after its kind, and fruit tree. Identity was then given to grass, earth, and seeds. Now, from day 3 to 6, day 4 to 6, we see the filling of earth. Day 4, he filled the earth with finished forms of light for seasons and for signs, days, and years. Verse 14 to 18, filling the earth with lights to rule the earth, great lights for day and night, which is believed to be the sun, moon, and stars. Day 5, he filled the waters with living creatures. Verse 20 to 23, filling with creatures, whales, and every winged fowl, blessing it to now multiply. We see the first pronunciation of blessing, but no mandate to rule or have dominion. Day 6, God filled the earth with animals. And that was when we saw the creation of man. Verse 24 to 25, he filled it with cattle, beasts of the field were created. And verse 26 to 28, the creation of man and woman and the mandate of dominion given. Replenish the earth. Fill the earth, subdue the earth, conquer, rule, have dominion, reign over it, give identity to it. I want you to write this down. Day 4 is the filling of formed, day one. Day 4 is the feeling of formed day 1. Day 5 is the feeling of formed day 2. Day 6 is the feeling of formed day 3. You see, in the Bible, we see a trend of God forming, then feeling. He forms, then he feels. When it came to him seeing the manifestation of his desire, he formed and he feels. And it hit me. God strategically in the creation, in the beginning, showed us a strategy for success. Y'all ready for it? Form it. Then feel it. Now you say, Pastor, what does that mean? You see, forming deals with foundation, building, the beginning of a thing. He formed man, and man was simply a well-formed clay, but that clay was the perfect size for the filling of God's Spirit. But I have to be honest with you, when I saw this text, it really hit me different because Genesis 2:7 said God formed man from the dust of the earth. You say, Pastor, what's the problem with us forming? Many of us, we don't like to form. We don't like to begin with a thing. We don't like to make motion towards a thing because of this one small problem. We don't like to work with lifeless objects. You see, dust don't have no power. Dust is lifeless. It's mere dust. God was willing to work with a lifeless object for his creation. He was willing to work with lifeless dust. Dust. God made motion with dust. He made motion using dust. Good God Almighty. He invested with dust. He built using dust. I think the revelation faith will be so important if we can open up the text and bring it in a napkin. Because what I don't want you to miss, what I don't want you to miss, Faithy, is we have to be able to dissect this word. We have to be able to see what God did in Genesis 2:7. How he was willing to work with dust. Are you willing to work with dust? What you initially gave me the first time, Anthony, are you willing to work with dust? It was so good. It was powerful. Genesis Open your Bibles to Genesis 2:7. You see, stand here, Faith. I have Faith bring me this tissue because this tissue is kind of like dust. It seems lifeless and pointless. Nobody wants to use something like this. Nobody wants to do something with this. Everybody has a tissue or a dust in your life. Something that seems lifeless, and because of how it looks, you don't want to make motion towards it. Thank you, Faithy. Are you at Genesis 2:7? Somebody read it out loud.
Then the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being.
God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. To address the null and void area of earth, God formed using dust, and then he filled. To address the null and void clay, he formed, and then he filled. We see an example with this real quick with Elisha and a widow in 2 Kings 4, verse 1 to 7. When you have time, I want you to go read that verse. She had a desire to pay off her debt, and she needed help before her sons gets taken and become bondmen. God spoke through Elisha and instructed her to be creative. Go and gather as many jars as you can, and if you can form where the blessing would be, God will do the filling. You see, forming deals with originality, creating, creativity, and beginning. Filling deals with the flow of a thing. It deals with contentment, abounding, to hold, to possess, to complete, to finish. You can never get to feel what you have never formed. You see, we want to see the finished work of God in our lives, but we're unwilling to start. We don't want to deal with clay. We want to see a completed area, so we wait on God while God is waiting on you. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, forming deals with motion. You see, God will always fill, but he has given you the power to form. Deuteronomy 28, verse 12, God will bless the work of your hands. God will bless what you make motion to form. God will bless what you work towards, even if it doesn't make sense. When I say dust, I'm talking about it could be the small education you got. It could be the background that you came from. It can be something so mediocre as even the little skill set that you have. What is the dust that you have that God has given you the ability with that dust to form something that can have life? To make motion. Everybody got dust. God showed us a success strategy in forming earth, in filling earth. And he gave us the blueprint for our success. I want to ask you a question before I stop. The Lord let me ask you this question. What would you do if nothing stood in your way? Or better yet, let me ask you this question. What would you attempt if you knew or thought you couldn't fail? What would you attempt to do if you thought you couldn't fail? What? What would you attempt to do this week if you thought you couldn't fail? What would you attempt to do today if you thought you couldn't fail? What would you attempt to do in your life if you thought you couldn't fail? And my question to you is this. That thing is in the realm of faith. In other words, you're hoping for it, but you can't see it. For it to become your reality, you must work towards it. When you get home today, or if you want to, you can post it in the group me or even in your homes. Write down, what is the thing that I would attempt if I thought I couldn't fail? What would I try to do if I thought I couldn't fail? And when you write that down, then begin to work towards it. What do I need to do to make it happen? Work towards your faith. This has been fulfilling purpose, the power of motion.